Hi children, welcome back to the lesson that is garbage. What is meant by garbage? Garbage is nothing but the used material. Means after their use, after their use, they become useless. So whatever the waste material that produced in our house or at office or at hotels, they are called garbage. Right? We collect garbage in the dustbin. We know that. And Safai wala they will collect the dust. They collect this garbage from the household and as well as they dispose it into dump tanks, right? And here in garbage there are two types of materials: useful components, useful components, and second one useless components, useless components, useful components and useless components. So what is called useful components means these garbage can be reused or can be recycled. It can be reused or recycled. Such kind of components or that garbage is called as useful component. Whereas useless components, they are not be able to reuse or recycle. It is not possible to recycle them, it is not possible to reuse them. Right? So that is what we call useless components of the garbage. Here, useful components, they are used again, they are recycled again. Whereas, next, next, here, depending upon their nature, the garbage material are divided into two types. What are they? Degradable, that too how? With the help of living things, means biodegradable wastage garbage and a non-biodegradable garbage. Non-biodegradable degradable garbage. So garbage material are two types: degradable garbage and non-biodegradable garbage. Right. Here, what is meant by bio? Bio means living things. Bio means living organisms, and degradation. What is meant by degradation? Degradation. Right. So degradation is nothing but decomposition or degeneration. Decomposition or degeneration means, for example, for example, an item. For example, what is this? It is a human body. For example, it is human body. So human body is made up of different chemicals, different cells. They are made up of different cells with the different chemicals. The body is made up of 70% water, right? And in the body there is blood. In the blood there is gases and so many chemical substances that are present in the body. By the composition of all these, our body is formed. Now, it is what we call gradation or formation, generation. Whereas after death of the person is going to be buried in the soil. Is buried in the soil. Now, whatever the components that are present in the human body, it can be degraded. Means it can be decomposed. It can be decomposed with the help of microorganisms. With the help of microorganisms. What is meant by microorganism? Micro, the name itself indicating it is very small. Micro. Organism means living thing. So these microorganisms, the small living things that are present in the soil, we call them as decomposers. We call them as decomposers. So these decomposers like bacteria and fungi, they degrade or decompose the dead body. As a result, what happens? Whatever the water, whatever the chemicals that are formed our body, they become degenerated and they are added into the soil. So there is no more dead body will be here. Why? Because it is decomposed by the decomposers, right? So this is what we call degeneration or degradation. So who did this degradation? Biological thing, that is decomposers, bacteria and fungi, living organisms. These living organisms, they decompose the dead body. They decompose the dead body. It is what we call degradation. Right? So whatever the garbage, here we take a human being and here garbage. Whatever the garbage that undergo degradation by the biological things like bacteria and fungi. If these material undergo decomposition, then they are called biodegradable garbage. Whereas some garbage are there which are not going to be degraded. Which are not going to be degraded. They are called non-biodegradable garbage. Non means no. Biodegradable means living thing, they are unable to degrade them. Means bacteria and fungi is unable to degrade them. So let us see how it takes place. What items are called as biodegradable garbage and what items are called as non-biodegradable garbage. So simply do one thing. For example, we eat potato chips, right? Now open the potato chips packets and this is the soil. In the soil, make two pits, a small pits with the help of stick or otherwise other metal equipment. You just make the two pits here. Now, in one of the pits, you may take potato chips. You may keep potato chips in one of the pits. Say A. In the A, we taken potato chips. In the B, you just keep the potato chips wrapper, the pocket, potato chips packet, and cover them in the soil. Cover them with the soil and sprinkle some water on it. Right? Now, after 2 weeks, go and open this pit. Remove the soil and see what happens. Do you guess what happens after 2 weeks? What happens in 2 weeks? In one we taken potato chips, in another one we kept potato chips cover, plastic cover. So after 2 weeks when you open these pits, there are no more potato chips. Potato chips nahi rehte hain. Whereas the plastic cover, it remains as it is. It remains as it is. So here potato chips are degraded. Potato chips are degenerated or degraded. Whereas the plastic cover is not degraded. Who degrade these potato chips? We know that in the soil there are decomposers called bacteria and fungi. Those bacteria and fungi, they degraded the potato chips, but they are unable to degrade the plastic. They are unable to degrade the plastic. So by this we can say that potato chip is degenerated by the biological cells. So it is what we call biodegradable garbage. Biodegradable garbage. Whereas the plastic cover is called as non-biodegradable garbage. Non-biodegradable garbage. Right? Have you understood the difference between biodegradable and non-biodegradable? If they get decomposed by the decomposers, it is called biodegradable garbage. Whereas non-biodegradable garbage, they never going to decompose. They remain as it is, not only for the 2 weeks, after 200 years also they remain as it is. They are not undergo decomposition, right? So those are called non-biodegradable garbage.